Hello friends, let us now learn some important points about the psychiatry. First, the term psychiatry. The term psychiatry is given by Johann Christian. It is Johann Christian Reil. Now, what is most important in psychiatry? The most important is history taking. What are 5 C's in psychiatry? How can we tell that information is reliable? We can tell that information is reliable if it is consistent, or if it is coherent, or if it is in the chronological information, or if the patient who tells the information is very close to the patient, that is closeness to the patient, and also the concern that he or she shows to the patient. So what are the 5 C's of psychiatry, how can we tell information is reliable? We can tell that information is reliable if the information is consistent, if it is coherent, if it is in the chronological order, and if it is if the person who is giving information is close to the patient and the concern, and he has concern to the patient, then we can say that the information is reliable. Now, adequacy of the information. With information, if we can reach the diagnosis, then we can say that the information is adequate. Then what about mental status examination? In mental status examination, when the patient comes to you, you will have to see the behavior of the patient and you will have to see the appearance of the patient. That is the first thing. Then you will have to see the speech of the patient. If the patient is speaking fast, that is rapid, then you can think he has mania. If he is speaking slowly, and if he is like depressed mood, and if he is speaking slowly, then you can say that it can be depression. So anyways, if there is rapid speech, then that is mania. Then third, mood and affect. What is mood and what is affect? Mood is actually cross longitudinal emotional state. Mood is longitudinal emotional state, whereas affect is cross sectional emotional state. You can remember it as AC. Affect is cross-sectional emotional state. Mood is longitudinal emotional state. In mood is internal emotional state. That is the thing that is present in inside his brain, or inside his heart. That is mood. Whereas affect is the external expression. What he shows outside is affect. So, for example, if a person is sad for a month and today if he is smiling, then what is the mood? If he is sad for a month and today if he is smiling, then the mood is sad because the internal expression is sad, but he is smiling. So happy is the affect. So that is the difference. Then in the mood and affect, for every mood and affect, there are four components are present. One, we have quality of mood, fluctuation of mood, congruence of mood, appropriateness of mood. First, we will see quality of mood. So in the quality of mood, you will have quality of mood. If you see, so quality of mood, this is the predominant emotional state at a point of time. So quality of mood is a predominant emotional state that is present at a point of time. This quality of mood can be increased mood or it can be decreased mood. If it is increased mood, then that means elevation of mood. Elevation of mood is seen in euphoria. Euphoria, this is a state of extreme happiness. That is, if you fail in the exam, but still if the patient is happy, then that is mania. That is euphoria. If for euphoria, if along with euphoria, if there is increased psychomotor activity in the patient, then we call it as elation. What is elation? In elation, patient is running happily when he failed in the exam. Running is psychomotor activity and he failed in the exam, but still he is running happily. So it is mania. Then we have exaltation. In exaltation, it is nothing but to this elation, if you add a delusion of grandiosity, then it is called as exaltation. To this elation, if you add elation plus delusion of grandiosity, is exaltation. Then you have ecstasy. What is ecstasy? Ecstasy is extreme state of happiness. Example, sense of bliss in people who meditate is ecstasy. Okay, so these are the things which you see in elevation of mood. Then we have depression of mood. In depression of mood, you have two things. One, you have dysphoria, and second, you have depressed mood. What is dysphoria? Dysphoria is predominant state of irritability. That means the patient gets angry even with very minute type of things. So for example, it is mania. Second, we have depressed mood. In depressed mood, the patient is sad persistently. For example, in depression, the patient is persistently sad. Then the next important thing is fluctuation of mood. The mood can be either normal or it is fluctuating. If it is fluctuating, if it is abnormal, or if the fluctuating, then it can be labile moods. That means for a minute he will be happy, for a minute he will be sad. So that is labile mood, which is seen in mania. Then second is abnormality, which is seen is affective blunting is seen. Affective blunting or affective flattening or emotional blunting, where the patient is sad throughout. So that is a schizophrenia, that is seen in schizophrenia. Next we have appropriateness. What is appropriateness? Appropriateness is if the emotional state of the patient matches with the environment, then we call it as appropriateness. For example, it is said to be inappropriate if the patient laughs in funeral. If the patient laughs in a funeral, then that is inappropriate behavior. Then we have congruency. What is congruency? It is internal comparison. That is, if a person is talking about his mother's death, he should be crying or he should feel sad. But if he is laughing, then it is incongruent. This appropriateness, inappropriateness and incongruency are actually features of schizophrenia. Then we have alexithymia. What is alexithymia? Unable to understand the emotions and unable to express emotions is alexithymia. Then we have anhedonia. In anhedonia, unable to feel pleasure in previously pleasurable events is anhedonia. Then we have emotions. What are emotions? Emotions are actually generated in limbic system and they are generated in hippocampus. It is generated in limbic system and hippocampus. So which will control emotions? Frontal lobe is the one which will control emotions. Then we have perception. What is perception? Anything that we get from the sense organs is perception. What is illusion? Illusion is abnormal perception of normal stimuli. That means if there is a rope on the wall and if the person thinks that it is a snake, then that is illusion. That is abnormal perception of normal stimuli is illusion. Then we have hallucination. What do you see? Hallucination. It is false perception in the absence of any stimuli. Though there is no stimuli, if the person feels like someone is talking to him, then that is hallucination. In this hallucination, if you see the criteria, the hallucinations should be clear, real, and they are 3D and they are live. They should be clear, as real as possible, and they are here the insight is absent. And these hallucinations mainly occur in outer objective space and there is no voluntary control over the hallucinations, and the sensory organs are not involved in hallucinations. So in hallucinations, the criteria are it should be clear and 3D, live and vivid. The insight should be absent. It should occur in the outer subjective space and there should be no voluntary control and sensory organs should not be involved. These hallucinations can be visual hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, olfactory hallucinations and tactile hallucinations. Visual hallucinations is most commonly seen in an organic condition. Auditory hallucinations are seen in psychiatric conditions. Olfactory hallucinations are seen in temporal lobe lesions and tactile hallucinations are seen in cocaine. We also have special type of hallucinations like we have hypnagogic hallucinations. Hypnagogic is go for going to sleep. So these hallucinations are seen when the patient is going to sleep. Then we have hypnopompic hallucinations. These are while waking up of sleep. In hypnopompic hallucination are those hallucinations which occur while waking up of sleep. While waking up from sleep. Then we have extracampine hallucinations. These are seen outside the limits of sensory apparatus are called as extracampine hallucinations. Then we have reflex hallucinations. In reflex hallucinations, the stimulus will be in one modality and the hallucination will be in other modality. These reflex hallucinations are seen in drug abuse like cannabis and LSD. Then we have functional hallucination. In functional hallucinations, stimulus and the response will also be in the same modality. That means if the stimulus is belt and if he thinks that it is snake, that is false perception or hallucination, and here if stimulus that is belt and snake both are perceived together, then that is functional hallucination. Okay, if it is illusion, in illusion the patient sees the belt to be the snake. He will think the belt to be the snake, but in hallucination, functional hallucination, he will see the belt and he will start thinking about the snake, and he will see both the belt and the snake. That is functional hallucination. Then we have something called as autoscopy. What is autoscopy? Autoscopy is viewing of oneself. If he sees himself in front of him, that is autoscopy. Then we have negative autoscopy. In negative autoscopy, if he sees himself in the mirror, normally we see ourselves in the mirror, but he will not see any image in the mirror. If there is no image in the mirror, then that is negative autoscopy. Then we have complex hallucinations. Complex hallucinations are if the hallucinations are present in two or more modalities simultaneously, then we call it as complex hallucinations. Then we have pseudo hallucinations. Pseudo hallucinations are in this the insight is present, and that this occurs mainly in the subjective space. Here the it is clear, 3D and live, and it is not under voluntary control. Whereas if it is imaginary, here the insight is present. It occurs mainly in the subjective space, and here it is not clear, not 3D, not live, not vivid. It is under the voluntary control. Whereas pseudo hallucinations are not under voluntary control, and they are clear and 3D and vivid. Whereas imaginary is not clear, not 3D and not vivid. Okay, next we have to learn about the contents of the thought. Then we have thought. What is thought? Thought is the thing that we know is called as thought. In the thought, first we have characteristics of the thought. In the thought, first we have stream of thought. What is stream of thought? That is flight of ideas or stream of thought. That is if there is increased speed in thinking. Like connection between the two thoughts will end in a word. For example, I came to the class is boring. Being bored is difficult. Difficulties are common in life. So this is stream of thought, which is flight of ideas. That is, in flight of ideas, you will see that there will be increased speed of thinking, and the connection between the thoughts will be end in a single word. That is stream of thought, flight of ideas. Then we have inhibition of or slow thinking is also seen. Inhibition and slow thinking is seen in depression. Then these two are stream of thought. Then we have form of thought. In form of thought, first there is derailment. What is derailment? Derailment is loosening of association between two thoughts is derailment. Then losing of association. Losing of association is if there are loss of association in the same thought, that is loosening of association. Then what is incoherence or word salad? Incoherence or word salad is here you will see no meaning is seen. Then we have circumstantiality. In circumstantiality, the patient uses unnecessary details and he finally reaches the goal. Then we have tangentiality. In tangentiality, the thoughts are actually related in a distant way, but the goal is not reached. Then we have neologisms. In neologisms, these are actually new word derivatives. That is neologisms. Then we have metonyms. Metonyms are he uses words that are approximate to the action. Like instead of pen, he uses that it is something to write. So that is metonyms. Then we have clang association. In clang association, the two words are connected to each other as they sound similar. So that is clang association. Then we have preservation. Preservation. What is preservation? This is repetition of the same response beyond the point of relevance is preservation. Then we have thought blocking. Thought blocking is sudden arrest of thought. No thought is present for a period of time. That is thought blocking. So these are actually the form of thought. Then we have content of thought. In the content of thought, we have delusions. What are delusions? These are firm belief, fixed. These are false beliefs which are firmly fixed, and they are non-breakable and unexplained by the social and cultural background. First, we have delusion of persecution. This is most common overall type of delusion, and it is also most common in schizophrenia. In this, there is belief that someone wants to kill him. that is delusion of persecution. Then there is delusion of reference. In this, he relates the things to him in delusion of reference. He thinks that everyone in the room are thinking about him. That is delusion of reference. Then we have delusion of grandiosity. In delusion of grandiosity, he feels he has some special powers, like he is of example mania and schizophrenia. Then for delusion of love or erotomania or de Clerambault syndrome or fantasy lover syndrome. In this, the patient thinks that someone is loving him, though if the person denies her proposal, but still she will not stop having that thoughts about him. Then there is delusion of infidelity or morbid jealousy or pathological jealousy or Othello syndrome. In this, he thinks that his partner is unfaithful to him. Then we have delusion of guilt. He feels that there is everything that has happening is because of him. Then there is nihilistic delusion or delusion of negation or Cotard syndrome or end of existence syndrome. In this, he thinks that every small act that he does will result in the end of the world. Then he has delusion of enormity. It is seen in nihilistic delusion only. Here he believes that his actions will cause a catastrophe. That is delusion of enormity. Then we have Capgras syndrome or delusion of doubles. And delusion of doubles. Here the familial person is replaced by a stranger. The familial person is replaced by similar looking stranger. So the person will fight with the family members. Then we have Fregoli syndrome. In Fregoli syndrome, the familiar person is changing the appearance and he is disguising as stranger. In this, the person fights with strangers. And there is syndrome of subjective doubles. In this syndrome of subjective doubles, according to the patient, many doubles are living in their own separate lives. Then we have syndrome of intermetamorphosis. In this, the patient believes that the people undergo both physical and psychological changes and at the end they become a different person. That is intermetamorphosis. Then we have bizarre delusion. These are the delusions which are scientifically impossible and culturally implausible. Then we have non-bizarre delusions. These are false delusions, but they are actually possible. Then we have possessions. Possessions are we are the sole possessors of the thought. No control of one's thought over the others. But if there is the abnormalities of possession are thought insertion, thought withdrawal and thought broadcast are the three thought phenomenon which are called as thought alienation. What is thought alienation phenomenon? In thought alienation phenomenon, we have thought insertion, thought withdrawal and thought broadcast. Then second, we have obsessions. What are obsessions? Obsessions are the same thoughts which one gets repeatedly is obsessions. Then about higher mental functions. In higher mental functions, first attention. Attention is the ability to detect a specific stimulus without distraction is attention. How are you going to test the attention? In this, first we have digit span test is used to test the attention, or we have digit repetition test. In this, we repeat 5 digits. So we ask the person to repeat 5 digits. If he repeats them properly, then it is normal. Then we have digit backward test. In this, we will ask the person to repeat the digits in a backward order. That is digit repetition test for attention. Then for concentration. Concentration is to ability to sustain attention is concentration. Here we do serial 7 subtraction test. And in concentration, in serial 7 subtraction test, we will ask the person to do subtraction of a number 7 times. That is serial 7 subtraction test. Okay, next, after that we will have to see memory, and in the memory we have 3 types of memory: immediate memory, recent memory, and we have remote memory. In the immediate memory is seconds. That is, in this seconds are we have digit subtraction test or 7 subtraction test can be used. Digit repetition test and 7 subtraction test can be used for immediate memory. In recent memory, it is for minutes, hours or days. Here you use 24-hour recall method can be used for recent memory. In remote memory, we will ask for personal information. Then if you see intelligence, intelligence is general information and calculation, and skill is intelligence. Then we have abstract thinking. Abstract thinking is higher level of thinking, like proverb testing, similarity testing. Here we will ask the patient about the similarity between the car and aeroplane. If the patient says that the car and aeroplane are just modes of transport, then it is abstract thinking. If he says that both of them will have tires, then it is concrete thinking. Then what is judgment? Judgment is taking the right decision according to the situation. First we have test judgment. In test judgment, doctor will give a test scenario to the patient and the judgment of the patient is assessed. That is test judgment. Then we also have personal judgments and social judgments. Then the next important thing is we have insight. What do you see in insight? Insight is awareness of being ill is insight. It is of 5 levels. In level 1, he will completely deny his insight. That is level 1. Level 2, he is aware that he is being sick, but he denies at the same time. That is level 2. Level 3, he is aware that he is being sick, but he attributes to the physical factors. That is level 3. In level 4, it is intellectual insight. He will accept the illness but does not change the behavior. He will accept the illness but does not change the behavior. In 5, this is emotional insight, where he will try to change the behavior also. Next, what is the difference between psychosis and neurosis? So psychosis, if you see, insight in psychosis is not present. In neurosis it is present. In delusions or hallucinations are present in psychosis, they are not present in neurosis. Then if you see reality testing is not present in psychosis, it is present in neurosis. Next, if you see the psychological tests we have subjective tests and we have objective tests. So first, the tests for personality. For personality, we have 2 tests. One, we have Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory. Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory is present. And second, we have 16 personality factors are the personality test. Then we also have test for psychiatric diagnosis. In test for psychiatric diagnosis, we have Rorschach test. In Rorschach test, they will give an ambiguous form of a picture will be given, and they will ask you to identify the conclusions from this. This is actually one of most common projection test which is used. Okay. Next we have TAT test, which is Thaumatic Apprehension test. In Thaumatic Apprehension test, the patient will be shown pictures of something and then it is asked to make a story based on this picture. That is Thaumatic Apprehension test. Then the patient is asked about the sentence completion test. He is given a sentence and asked to complete the sentence. Then we have picture completion test. A picture is given and asked to complete the picture. Then there is draw a person test. In this, the patient is asked to draw a person properly. Then we also have organic tests. So in the organic tests, we have, the names are important: Bender and Gestalt test, Halsted and Reiten battery. Then we have Lubra, Nebraska battery, and we have Ames test, and also PGI test or Nimhan's test is also present. Then we have tests for intelligence. Tests for intelligence are, we have Wechsler's test for intelligence is present, Stanford Binet test is present, Bhatia battery is present, and Vineland social maturity scale is present. So these are the important things about the general psychiatry. Thank you.